Thanks for stopping by my channel. This is the Prairie Nurse. We're going to discuss 10 ways on how to survive the next pandemic. I was in nursing school over a decade. During nursing school, the nursing professors explained to us that no matter what, sometime during our period of nursing career, that we will be part of a huge pandemic. And I'm not discussing that's in relationship to COVID. I think it's going to be way more severe than that, more natural, and that would be possibly in areas such as the bubonic plague or the Spanish flu that occurred right before World War One. And then they explained to us different areas. So depending on your age, if you are at age that you would be bearing children, that you would be considered the clean nurse, and then if you are done raising children or at that age of being pregnant, that you would be considered the dirty nurse and being on the front lines. So I think as a nurse, it's my job to help other people as a humanitarian to get you prepared for the next pandemic. So we're just going to go over some basic things on how you can survive and just prepare as much as you can. This may not happen for 10, 20 years, maybe 50 years, but we might as well get ready because a lot of things are changing quickly. Things are odd in this world. And then even the Economics magazine about a year ago had wheat on the cover with skeletons, and then the World Health Organization is saying this. Many governments are saying this. So let's start getting this covered. Now, could the plague return or some type of virus or germ that could return to cause this pandemic? Interesting enough, the World Health governments are discussing a hypothetical disease that they are calling Disease X, which is, I'm just kind of curious of why they're using the word X, because Twitter was bought out and that's called X, and then there's SpaceX. Everything seems to be in correlation to the X. So this was a red flag for me to start paying attention to this. So just maybe you guys should do some research as well on the Disease X. First and most important area to make sure that you have is water sources. So if a lot of people are passing away, unfortunately, the whole system of wherever you live, there's going to be issues in getting water. There's not going to be people working at the water department. So you're going to be kind of on your own. So let's discuss water sources and how to survive. Water sources and safety. Just a disclaimer real quick, I will post below on my video as well that the information I share for this video is for entertainment only. Of course, with any of these topics I'm discussing, seek professional help. I do have references on the last page. And I am not a doctor, I'm not a police officer, I'm not a firefighter, I don't work for the water department, I'm not a water scientist. This is just some information just for entertainment. So please check out the resources and check with the professional for each of these categories for more questions. Besides that, let's get going. So we have types of water sources. So if you do not have any water coming from your pipes, if the water department is not active and you cannot get water from your spout, other areas would be rain. So you could collect rain with barrels. So I would probably go ahead and get rain barrels ahead of time. Get those in different locations close to downspouts. That would probably be good. Streams, creeks, and lakes. That would be another area. Natural springs. A water well with a hand pump would be great because you don't need electricity, just manually with your hand to pump. If you live in a cold climate and you have snow outside, of course make sure the snow is fresh. You can melt snow or ice. I did this as well in the Midwest. We've lost power many times, and what we would do is just take snow, put it in a pan, melt it. If you have a stove, you can put on the top of the stove, or if you can still get gas, to your oven on the top part and just put it in a pan and melt it. Juice liquids, you can get that from canned fruit or jarred fruit. Some other safety tips in emergency: water filters, of course, are going to be essential, extremely essential to get rid of pollutants and other things that you may not know that's in there. So make sure you get that. Try to get one for everybody in your family and maybe some extras for other loved ones or friends or neighbors that did not prepare. Stock up prior, obviously, for an emergency with bottled water. And most people know this, but make sure you do that ahead of time, not when everything is collapsing. Always carry water with you. You may not be aware of your situation that could occur later in the day or wherever you're at. So if you already have water on you, that's going to be very beneficial, especially if you have a vessel that you have that you can put water in if you are traveling. And then, of course, if you have extra water, that's great, because you're never gonna know who you're gonna come across that will need that water as well. To clean your water, if you are coming across water that you're unsure of, make sure you boil the water, disinfecting. This is one of the oldest ways that people would drink water. And to purify it, bring it to a boil for about 3 minutes is required per CDC's website. Check out my references. However, I like to make sure everything is extremely disinfected, so I would just do 10 minutes. That's just for me, but you don't have to follow that. And then, of course, boiled water. Make sure it cools down. You don't want to drink boiled water. Make sure it's cooled down. And of course, it just kills germs and viruses. It does not get rid of chemicals. So you gotta pay attention to that. If you have a distiller, that would be wonderful to help with your water and clean it. There's also chlorination. Every water department puts this in their water as well. More information on how to do that, check out my FEMA link or the CDC link of how to do that. Salt for disinfecting ratio: add a pinch of salt for each quart of water or a liter of boiled water. Check out the CDC website as well for more information on that. And let's move on to the next one. Some areas to be concerned with your water when you drink it and getting sick. There could be parasites in it, viruses and bacteria. So I have a list of 7 areas that may or may not be in your water system that you need to be prepared for and to clean up or try to get rid of before you drink it and get sick. Some of these areas, like 6 and 7, a lot of that has to do with sewage or pipe issues, or if you live close to farming with animals that could leak into the water system, such as E. coli, Giardia, enterovirus. And you can go ahead and take a look at these other ones: hepatitis A, norovirus, rotavirus, salmonella, shigella. So yeah, go through this list and kind of see what you should know to be in the water system. Some other areas of water contaminants can be lurking in your water. There's different categories. So we have the physical contaminants, chemical contaminants, biological, and radiological. So just be aware of what's around you. If there's plants that have chemicals that can leak into your system, pesticides from farms. So just go to take a look at that. You can look at my references if you want more information at the end. Definitely do that. All right, so now we're going to get into having medicine. So we need to be aware that people may not be answering 911. Ambulances may not show up if you are in an emergency situation. The hospital, the clinics, they may not have people there, may not have supplies available to help you out. So as a nurse, this is big and very important to me. So let's dabble into herbal medicines and first aid that you should have available in your household for you, your friends, or anybody else that you may need to assist. All right, so for the most crucial herbal medicines that I can find, that most people wherever you live should be able to find all of these and then have them ready for your medicine cabinet. So that would include, but not limited, of course, there's obviously more, echinacea, black elderberry, garlic, and then that would also be the chamomile. That's most people have that for teas. Lavender, tea tree oil, aloe vera plant, that would be great. Otherwise, a gel. Arnica inactivated charcoal. This is great for if there's a food poisoning incident. You definitely would need to have that. Some other basic first aid that you should have is cotton balls, antibiotic ointment, band-aids, bandages, vitamin E, antiseptic wipes, witch hazel, eye drops or an eye wash if you get chemicals or something in your eye, cortisone cream, pain reliever medicine, also thermometer, anti-diarrhea medicine, sunscreen, antihistamines, wet wipes, ice packs. Depending on where you live, if you live where it's a northern climate and it's cold for most of the year, ice packs you can put outside. In case there's no power though and you live somewhere warmer like Arizona or more of like the West Coast and nicer areas, you're going to want the ones that you can shake or break to get the ice pack working. Burn relief creams. This is wonderful to have. Not a lot of people have that in their medicine cabinet. Cough medicine, if you don't have any, black elderberry, and then nasal sprays as well. Some additional medical supplies, iPad, arm or shoulder sling, braces, sterile gauzes, rolled bandages, a flashlight or pen light. This is great, especially if there's somebody that hit their head or you come upon an accident. That way you can verify their pupils and then see what's going on in emergency. Water bottles, somebody that you can come across that could be dehydrated. Blankets, of course, this is always a good thing to have. Scissors, in case you need to use it for bandages. Tweezers, in case you got to pull something out or need it for assisting another person. Gloves, of course, this is huge. We don't want to get cross-contamination or catch any type of diseases from anybody. Feminine hygiene products. Every woman's going to appreciate that. First aid book, you got to know the basics. Even professionals may not come across everything all the time, so that's a good reference for everybody. And of course, vitamins, and because if you are getting short on your vitamins from actual food, this is big, especially if it's children and they're growing. They're going to need those vitamins in the meantime until something changes with the pandemic on getting more food supply. Just a reminder while we're finishing up with this part of the topics, this information is limited, so this is just very basic. Please make sure you specialize for your own family needs. Every family is different on what's crucial and not crucial for their medical supplies. So just make sure your prescriptions are always filled, everything's ready to go, your medicine cabinet's ready, and if you need batteries, make sure you have all those ready and charged. All right, the next topic is seeds and food storage. Obviously, everybody knows that this is a big deal, so let's get into it. Seeds obviously are extremely important in this situation. If most people are sick and the system's going to collapse because you don't got anybody able to get to work and people are dying or sick, so that would result to empty grocery stores and lack of supplies. So seeds, they come in great to be handy, and that way you can grow your own fruits and vegetables. If possible, the most important type of seeds is the heirloom seeds. They have the most vitamins in them. And of course, make sure you have garden tools. You know, sometimes you think you have enough tools until you actually start your garden. Then you realize, hey, I don't have enough tools. So make sure you have the tools that you need and supplies. Make sure you make a checklist. That would be great. And especially this time of the year, the supplies should be available. There shouldn't be that many people looking for gardening supplies. Okay, so food storage and the basics. So, of course, it's been around since the time began. Cellars, they are a great idea to store your food. You don't have to have anything fancy. If you can just dig a little deep at a certain depth, then there's a temperature that doesn't change. For more information, you can check out websites on cellars. But yes, this is a great place to start. Salt. It is one of the best and oldest ways for food preservation. Also, I think if there's a pandemic, salt is going to be huge. You need salt in your diet to balance your pH of your blood. So make sure you get salt and lots of salt stored. It'll last forever. So get the salt, and that way you can start preparing your foods. Some other types of storage would be drying your foods, jarring. So make sure you get some jars, some mason jars with lots of lids, lots of extra lids. If you live in the cold climate and the winter season is upon you, of course, then you can use outdoors as your refrigerator. You just got to be careful depending on where you live with animals like bears and coyotes and wolves and other type of critters. All right, next area that you should be prepared for a pandemic is shelter from the elements. How are you going to prepare for this? All right, there's a high chance there'd be no electricity. So make sure that you have another source of heating or a cooling system, of course, depending on where you're living. Generators, backup batteries, solar panels, these are all great to have just in case. All right, so you got to obviously be prepared for your safety and protection of you and your family, your friends, your neighbors. When there's a pandemic, people get scared, and when people are scared, they do irrational things. So let's get into that. It's hard to believe, but there could be a possibility where you call 911 and there's nobody there, no one's working, there's no ambulances, there's no police or anybody there to protect you. So you just got to think about what would you do in a situation, or what can you do? What's your options if anything comes arise where you need to contact anybody for an emergency? You need to know your surroundings, who your neighbors are, what vehicles come in and out of your neighborhood, so you can tell if there's anything changing or some new person, such as a stranger, coming in your neighborhood. Pay attention to behaviors of people, if that's changing or people are somewhat still normal. Carry protection. This is whatever you're comfortable with to protect yourself. Stay in large groups if possible. If you're more isolated, you're going to have more of an issue. You're going to be standing out more. If there's any criminal activity, could be used against you. Larger groups, usually criminals don't come after. Prepare physically. So, of course, you're going to want to be healthy as you can. So just in case you need to run or protect yourself, and make sure your muscles are strong and kind of see where your endurance is. Getting back to your neighbors, you're going to, once again, they're going to be make or break survival in a pandemic. Previous decades ago, you didn't rely on government, you didn't rely on any officials, maybe a sheriff in town. But back then, if you needed eggs or sugar, it was normal to ask your neighbor. You relied on your neighbors to survive, and vice versa. So if you're not friends with your neighbors, try to be friends with them, and correlate and talk to them as much as you can. The society, unfortunately, has changed over the years, and people are not close to their neighbors as they used to be. The more you're prepared for a pandemic, the more you can help others. So this is huge. Again, as a nurse, I got to make sure I have what I need for my family and my friends, as well as other people that I don't know, that are strangers, that will need my help. The last topic we're going to talk about is communication. Just like the military, you're going to need to know what's going on. It's hard to plan for anything, to know about supplies coming, and how to prepare. So you got to have some type of communication of the outside world besides just your own neighborhood. Some areas of communication, if there's no electricity, a great thing is a ham radio. CBs, depending on your age, you should be familiar with them. If you are Gen X and maybe a millennial, CBs are huge. Walkie-talkies, everybody knows about walkie-talkies, and a satellite phone. In Hawaii, that was very important to people to reach out to other people, let them know they're okay because they had satellite phone. So definitely try to get a satellite phone if you can ahead of time. If you can't get all of these different types or even one type, try to get together with your neighbors. They might have some of these already, and then everybody can kind of see who and what they need to be prepared for and who can step in and maybe buy one of them. All right, something a little bit more fun, not so depressing, is to have some fun activities, especially for kids. They don't need to be stressing out. They should just be happy as kids. So make sure you have games to keep them busy, fun snacks, and any other activities that you can think of that your family may like. Or if you don't have a family and you're kind of on your own, or you're a bachelor, or you're an elderly couple, have these things available for your neighbors. They would definitely appreciate it. I have an emergency health bag ready to go with everything I can imagine. I'm always checking it for expiration dates. If you are a medical professional, it's really important that you have it ready as well for helping others. We can't rely on clinics and emergency department ambulances. Something may arise. So please make sure if you're a health professional, get your medicine bag ready and available. Again, this is the Prairie Nurse. Thanks so much for watching. If you like this video and you want more of this information, please subscribe and like. I'm a new YouTuber, so any likes, I am truly blessed and appreciative. So thank you again for coming to my channel.